Hey, what's going on guys? Repel here, bringing you the 14th daily Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle. Today we're up against I Like Trains, and he has one hell of a powerful team, not gonna lie. That Greninja, Mega Blastoise, Hawlucha, Aegislash, Talonflame, Galvantula, really major threats. I'm bringing the Mienshao, Mega T-Tar, Magnezone, Gliscor, Roselia, and my spinner, Starmie. Now I know my opponent is probably going to lead off with Galvantula because he probably wants to set up webs. And I want to break that Galvantula into pieces. I want to lead up with my Mienshao because I want to use Fake Out to break his sash, pretty much. Mienshao is a great, excellent, anti-lead. Do go for the Fake Out, do a nice critical. Usually Galvantula is faster, so I thought, well, why the hell not? I'm just gonna go for Stone Edge. But turns out, not only do I outspeed this Galvantula, but of course my Stone Edge miss. Of course, right? So now I'm thinking he's probably gonna switch out. He doesn't want to get hit by Stone Edge, right? So I just did a U-turn to make that double switch, but surprisingly, my opponent stays in and his Galvantula lives with like 1 HP. So I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit? What is going on? But I didn't really care. I'm going to go into Gliscor to absorb any electric attack. Now I'm pretty sure he's not going to save his Galvantula now. But just in case he does want to switch out, I just went for a substitute, but turns out this Galvantula has Sucker Punch. Not that it'll do too much since Gliscor is, a defensive wall. And now I decide to just go for the Earthquake. Turns out he's not going to go for Sucker Punch. He probably knows that Sucker Punch probably won't even break my sub, so yeah. Down goes the Galvantula. About time, right? Now I do have webs, on my side of my field, but I do have Starmie. So out comes the Blastoise. Excellent play on my opponent's part since, I don't want to get hit by any water attacks. Does go for the Mega Evolution. It's kind of fucking scary, but I am behind the sub. I just, decide to go for the Toxic because I know the Earthquake probably won't do too much to this Blastoise. Luckily my Toxic did land at least. So he does go for the Water Spout, and keep in mind this Blastoise is at full HP, and of course it'll demolish my substitute, of course. Obviously I don't want to take another, Toxic. Sorry, I don't want to take another Water Spout. But my Gliscor is packing the Protect. That's right, I'm gonna go for Protect. It'll, just let this Blastoise wither down a little with that Toxic damage. I'm gonna go for the substitute. Why the hell not? Just to see what he's gonna do. And he's gonna go for Hydro Pump. I kinda did wish that he would miss, but yeah. I could keep using substitute to just kinda stall out his poison, but at the same time, I'm losing quite a lot of HP too if I keep doing that. Because Poison Heal doesn't really heal all of my substitute HP, so... But turns out my opponent is gonna switch out. He doesn't want to play any games here. He's gonna go into Greninja. Shiny Greninja, which is not too uncommon anymore. They're quite, all over everywhere now. I just went for a substitute because, I really thought, he might switch out. So, it's great and all. I went for a Protect because I want to grab as much HP as possible. And, just to kind of scout what this Greninja has. And obviously he's going to go for Ice Beam. So, at least I'm behind a sub, so instead of using the Toxic, actually, I'm just going to go for the Earthquake. Turns out Earthquake is actually a 2-hit KO, so I'm just like, yeah, why the hell not? I'm just going to go for the Earthquake. After my substitute fades, I will relinquish the Earthquake, and it'll do just a little bit over half, which is pretty darn sweet. But I don't want to get hit by another Ice Beam, so I'm going to switch out. I have quite a few options to switch into, but I just thought, hey, I'm gonna switch into Tyranitar. Eat up an Ice Beam in the sand really well, and even if he does want to go for a Hydro Pump or Scald or whatever, I'll still take it pretty well and maybe start setting up. So yeah, take it so well. I'm not even invested in any bulk, but of course my opponent gets a nice fat freeze. Of course, I don't want to play any games here. I just want to switch out. I'm pretty sure this Greninja doesn't even have Scald, so I'm not really too sure if I should stay in with the T-Tar. I went to Starmie now to eat up, any water attack, and I know what you guys are thinking. Yeah, but Starmie is gonna get hit by a dark type. That's right, Starmie is gonna get hit by a dark type, but that's not the point here. I wanted to just, you know, safely switch into my Mienshao, because I'm expecting the Dark Pulse now. Obviously, I did not want you to, you know, bring out my Mienshao to absorb that Surf earlier, so my best bet is obviously this Dark Pulse. He is Protean, you know, it's gonna do, you know, a decent amount, but it's not gonna do too much. And, you know, my whole team is pretty much slow thanks to Sticky Webs. I don't really have an opportunity to spin them away yet with that Starmie. But, at least my Mienshao takes the Dark Pulse relatively well and retaliates this Greninja with that Fake Out. And that'll, of course, finish up this Greninja, so... Unfortunately, it took 3 of my Pokemon to get rid of that Greninja, but... Yeah, I was not expecting Tyranitar to get frozen, but, you know, it's all good. How comes the Blastoise now? Not sure if my High Jump Kick can kill or not, so best bet is just go for the U-turn. But judging from this range, I actually think the High Jump Kick can kill. But, you know, it's all good. I'm gonna go back to the party, and, you know, it'll activate Regenerator, so Mienshao will absorb more HP. I'm going to Roselia now, and it is a specially defensive Roselia. Turns out he's gonna go for the Aura Sphere, you know, that's fine and all, but obviously Roselia will eat up so nicely. My best bet is, of course, he's gonna go for the Ice Beam next turn, but I am motherfucking Roselia. I do, you know, do take it. But turns out he doesn't have Ice Beam, he just has the Dragon Pulse, and it's not gonna do too much. I went for a Sleep Powder because I really thought he was gonna switch out. There's really no point to let this Blastoise die just yet, but I suppose my opponent thought he could possibly 2-hit KO me. You know, Mega Launcher, Dragon Pulse is quite strong, but it's not strong enough for Roselia, so I'm gonna grab quite a lot of HP and just let this Blastoise die to poison. Now comes the Talonflame, and I'm finally waiting for this Talonflame. Now he could go for the Brave Bird, but I'm thinking there's also a chance that he might just go for a Fire Attack, so I'm just praying, oh please God, please go for a Fire Attack and thaw me out. If he does go for a Brave Bird, that's fine. It's not going to do anything to Tyranitar either, but I would really appreciate it if he goes for a Fire Attack. And luckily for me, my opponent goes for a Fire Attack and nicely thaws me out. That's fantastic. I've been waiting for this. Now that Tyranitar is nice and defrosted, I can go for the Dragon Dance and grab, you know, +1 attack. Keep in mind, my speed was dropped to -1 thanks to Sticky Webs. So this Dragon Dance will bring me back to neutral. And that is exactly what I do. Go for that awesome D-Dance. And I'm fearing this Aegislash might go for King Shield to Scowl, so instead of using Crunch, I just went for the EQ, and turns out it's actually enough to kill. That's really glad. I'm glad I didn't overpredict and just go for another Dragon Dance, you know. My opponent probably went for a Sacred Sword. Here comes the Hawlucha. Keep in mind I'm only at neutral speed, so obviously I cannot outspeed this Hawlucha. I know the High Jump Kick is coming, I don't have any Ghost type, but luckily I have Gliscor. So reliable. That High Jump Kick did actually more than I expected, so yeah, kinda scary there. I'm just praying this Hawlucha doesn't have Swords Dance, or he could totally wreck shit. He's gonna go for a Sky Drop. Really rare to see Sky Drop. I actually don't know what Sky Drop really does. I mean, obviously it's a damaging move, but yeah. This is probably like one of my first or second times seeing, you know, Sky Drop. But it doesn't affect me, so I'm thinking it doesn't affect flying types? I'm not too sure. But anyways, I went for a Toxic, obviously, because I can't use Earthquake. And now he is poisoned, and I'm just gonna go for a Protect. It's so obvious, but my opponent is gonna stay in with Hawlucha, and turns out he is gonna go for High Jump Kick, even though I have already revealed that I have Protect on my, you know, Gliscor. But he insists on using High Jump Kick. That's fine by me. Obviously, I'm not gonna go for a second Protect. He's gonna go for the High Jump Kick now. So I went for the Substitute. I'm safely behind the Substitute, and this Hawlucha is pretty much gone by now. I'm gonna grab a little bit more HP, and as I mentioned, I'm gonna go for the obvious Protect. My opponent can either just die to the High Jump Kick missing, or can just die to Poison. But he's gonna go for a Sky Drop, and this Hawlucha will meet its end with that toxic damage. And I believe my opponent has one last Pokemon left, which is this Talonflame, and I'm so glad it's a Talonflame because obviously Talonflame can't do shit. He could go for a Flamethrower though, but I do outspeed him, so it turns out we already know he doesn't have he doesn't have max speed. Obviously I outspeed him because he doesn't go for that priority, Brave Bird. So it was really funny, and he is gonna get hurt by poison damage, but really though, what my opponent really should have done was just go straight for a Flamethrower and just get rid of my substitute. My biggest, asset is that substitute. Without it, I'm pretty much useless, but he's giving me, opportunities to land that poison and still safely behind, that substitute. What he should really do is just get rid of my substitute ASAP. That's what he really should do, but yeah, he's gonna go for Swords Dance, and he's at max attack, and I'm a little bit afraid, honestly. It's a little bit scary, but then I'm thinking, I am behind a substitute, and I can just keep using substitute if he keeps breaking my sub. He's gonna predict that I go for these Protect, which is great and all. He goes for a Roost, but Roost is not gonna really help here since he is, toxic. So he has no choice but to eventually break my substitute. And I knew that, so I decided to just go for another substitute. Sometimes it's really great when you're slower than your opponent, because you can just pop another substitute and grab some more poison heal, so things aren't looking too bad here. This Hawlucha, this Talonflame is getting hurt quite a lot by poison. Even 1 or 2 Roost is not going to really help his situation. But I suppose he has no choice. He's obviously not going to waste an attack while I go for a Protect, so his best bet is obviously that Roost, but like I mentioned, he should have just used Flamethrower on my substitute ASAP. Now he keeps using Roost. Not really sure why. I can see why, Brave Bird, Recoil, and Poison will pretty much finish off this Talonflame, but yeah, it's a little unnecessary to prolong this Talonflame's life, but hey, it's all good. Showing very strong sportsmanship here. I went for the, it's just all these obvious Protect and Substitute. It's my best bet. And he keeps using Roost, so yeah, I'm just waiting to see when poison damage will just completely one-shot this Talonflame. Like, it'll take him from 100% HP to 0%. I've never witnessed that, but yeah, I'm still waiting for it. Finally, my opponent does go for an attack, and he gets a nice crit too, so obviously my substitute fades, gets a little bit of recoil damage, and from this range, the poison damage is probably gonna finish it off. Probably, but obviously, being the annoying ass Gliscor, I'm gonna have to substitute. And yeah, poison damage will finish it off. So unfortunately, we did not see poison damage one-shotting that Talonflame, but nonetheless, thank you, opponent. I like Trains for bringing such an amazing team. And you guys like this awesome battle, please be sure to leave that generous like. I can't keep these daily videos without your generous support, so thank you once again.